Hello and welcome to The Slice. My name is Michael, and today I have a super special guest. His name is Ash Borland. How are you, Ash? Are you all right?
I'm amazing, Michael. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for actually being here. Now, I saw you on another podcast, and I thought you would be a fantastic person to come and talk on The Slice. So I hope that you are excited as much as I am.
I really am. I
Good
really
stuff.
am.
So if you haven't seen the show before, there is a 10-minute timer. And after the 10 minutes, that's the end of the conversation. So we've literally only got 10 minutes to get as much out as possible. How does that sound?
Sounds perfect.
Good. So are you ready for me to start the timer?
No, let's go. Let's go.
Right, your timer has started. So first of all, Ash, for those that don't know who you are, tell us, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Ash Borland. I'm a personal branding coach, and I help coaches, consultants, and freelancers establish themselves as a thought leader in their space and unlock their social selling potential.
And how did you get into that? Where did that come from?
It was a really strange topic, really. So what happened was I knew a lot. I knew about branding, and I was an actor originally. So that's how I kind of understood performing arts and presentation. But with regards to personal branding and how I ended up here, I just started to ask myself a number of questions, and I started to notice two things: one, things that upset me, and things that annoy me, and then how can you fix them? And that's what I started. That's how I ended up here. So the first thing I looked at was what annoyed me, and I started noticing people would use things like online, like intangible language, like be authentic when it comes to personal branding, or add value, but they had no real practical application, and that was something that used to really frustrate me. I'd also noticed that a lot of people would focus purely on vanity metrics like likes, follows, shares, subscribers, and they didn't really understand the value behind what you could actually make and monetize that. And so that was used to really annoy me, like something rotten in this space when I was in the content creation space. And I started to also think about like what would upset me, and things that upset me with things like, I'd see coaches, consultants, freelancers, all the people I work with, they had an amazing ability, but they had zero visibility or didn't know how to actually position themselves correctly.
Yeah.
Or they'd also be scared of creating content because they had no idea of how to create content. So they would shy away from it. And that would be absolutely heartbreaking as well. And then the most important thing for me was that many people felt they couldn't build a business they wanted or be who they wanted on camera or in person because it wasn't professional enough, because they didn't want to show their personality. They felt they'd lose clients. So I thought about that, and I really, I'm moaning about it here. And, instead of moaning about something, how can you fix it? And so I literally sat down and I thought, okay, I'm going to create a step-by-step tangible method of how you can position yourself that focuses purely on content marketing, social selling, and behavioral psychology. So it's tangible and actionable, so anyone can do it. It's paint by numbers. And then I thought, I'm also going to live by example. I'm going to show everyone my content and my personality. So my setup is oozing with really like 90s kid nostalgia, and show that's possible. You can be who you want to be and still have a profitable business. And then I was like, and then I'm going to create a free resource, which was my podcast, and so that people could actually get the information that they needed. And that's how I ended up in personal branding as what I do now, which is very much a coach, step-by-step coach, and kind of thought leader in this space.
I think it's important also because, if and what you've just said kind of resonates with me a lot because, I talk to a lot of people about, you've got to be out there with video. You've got to consistently be out there with video. And I wasn't doing it because I was too busy teaching people and telling people. And I think if you are going to talk the talk, you need to walk the walk. So by taking stock of yourself and going, actually, well, what am I doing that's right and wrong? If I'm going to be teaching someone, I have to back it up with something. So for you, how do you think that has actually helped you move your business forward, implementing all those things?
It's the key, it's the cornerstone and foundation of what makes me successful, I think, is that I am open and honest to everybody about what I do. I think the biggest thing I would see is many coaches, consultants, gurus, so to speak, would always sell you something that they hadn't actually done themselves or is a watered down version. And that is a real big bugbear of mine. Everything I do in my brand, everything I do on my content is everything that is in the course, or is everything that is if I worked with you, or is everything I would tell you if we're in a conversation now. Like, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk, because otherwise you don't know if it's working or not. And I think that's the biggest misconception. And it's actually, with me, anyone who follows me for a long period of time will see I pivot all the time. And I openly admit why, because it's like that's working, but now that's a better way. So, I mean, I had a ranking podcast, did really, really well. I deleted it all. I won't go into it because we don't have time for that, but it's the
We
thing of
haven't.
like, I deleted it because I knew there was a better way of doing it, and I'm
Mhm.
public about that. And I think it's the same with anybody, you know. So I think you do have to definitely, definitely show that you walk the walk as well as talk
Yeah.
the talk.
And I think you definitely made me realize that I'm on the right track, because obviously since March, I was working with a lot of influencers all over the country, filming content, online course creation. And, you know, I was filming videos for people and their YouTube channels thinking, I've got the personality to do this. I've got the personality to go out there and do all of this and teach people, because I'm a personable person. And like yourself, I come from an acting background as well. And I think when you've got that and you're in a creative space, I think it makes you really realize that, well, I've got to really set that example. Told you there'd be a Jack Russell
That's
barking.
amazing. I love it.
Do you know what? How far in were we? Oh, we literally have 4 minutes left. She's just over the halfway mark. But, you know, I think it's so important to come from a place where you've had experience and you can actually say, well, look, I've done this. And I've done it myself with thumbnails. I'm still now figuring out thumbnails. I still have an issue with thumbnails, but I know that what I'm telling people now, if I learn in a couple of weeks' time that this is a better way of doing them, then I will just say, right, this is how we're doing it. So it's nice to know that what you're saying resonates with me and what I'm doing in my journey. Because I think when you are a business owner, I think sometimes when you are on your own, I think you don't really know whether what you're going to do is the right thing. And it
Yeah.
could be detrimental at the same time to your business. So how do you find taking those steps and saying, well, I've just taught people this for like the last month and now I think it's this? Is it just being a case of being open, being honest, and just going with what you feel is right at the time?
Yeah, so it's that exact. It is that. I always think about a thing called the goldfish bowl. So I think it's very. I always think get out of the goldfish bowl. This is my mindset. Is that if when you're inside a goldfish bowl, which is you are as an entrepreneur or consultant coach, when you're in that water and you're the goldfish, everything's warped and everything's weird. But if you step outside of that goldfish bowl, you can see it's just a bowl with a bit of water in it. And it's exactly the same thing with my brand. Like when you're in it and you're coaching,
Mm-hmm.
or you're teaching or you're doing it yourself, you can see you think everything's working or it might not be working, but you're not sure. When you actually step out, you can get a really clear picture. And I think it's about not being attached to something and saying to, you know, that's working, that's not. Data is huge. Like I think people avoid data, especially creatives, where they go, you know, oh, but I like the way I feel about this or that other. But if the data is telling you to do something, you should do it. And I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing that I can stress when it comes to building a tangible personal brand or anything online, is if people are saying, like with the podcast, the most downloaded episode is episode 1. That's why I deleted it. Okay, then let's make it the best episode so everyone buys from you. That's the type of thing you have to look at. Don't make the worst. And that's what you have to look at. The data never lies.
Yeah. And so is it really important then to always, because obviously every platform, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, they all come with analytics. Is it something that you really should be going, well, do you know what? I know they're there, but I don't do anything with them because I don't know what they mean. Is it really important to go, stop being so kind of blasé with it all, look at what your statistics are telling you, and actually implement what is working and what is not?
Yes, I think is the answer. But then I would say it all comes in. It's all about skill set and mastering small tasks. So if your biggest fear is to get on camera, then don't be looking at the data before you get, you know, like overcome. I think putting things in perspective. You know, I did 18 months of literally daily content creation, not looking at data. I had
Yeah.
18 just trying to understand tech and understanding production quality and all of that stuff. The data has no real value at that point, but also it's accumulating. But now, 18 months in of like really going full at it, now it's like, okay, I've got enough data. I know what I'm doing. Then the data comes in. I think that you can go on either side, but yeah, you should be understanding it. The difference I've seen, I've interviewed tons of people on my show and these really high achievers, probably very similar to yourself, where you go, actually, the ones who've made it actually analyze what works and what
Yeah.
doesn't work, and they implement more of what works and they remove what doesn't. And
Yeah.
that's like the secret. It really is the secret to it.
And also, I can tell from your backdrop that you're really into your video. How much do you implement video into your business?
Every day, every
Every
single
day.
day. Like it's my most, like my podcast is a video podcast. It's my entire life. Like I'm dyslexic.
Me
So
too. We
There
are
you
like so
go. We're
similar.
so the same person. I'm dyslexic. Everyone told me to write blogs. I can't write blogs, but
No.
I can talk, and I also love editing and tech. So I think video for me is super important, and it just brings me business because people see you and they hear you, and then don't underestimate the power of getting a client on a call with you in the same environment, and they're live, like if on a Zoom call, that blows them away. It really does. So
Yeah.
it's super powerful.
It is. And when you do a lot of networking yourself?
Yeah, all the time.
And do you literally get the people that go, wow, I love your camera. It's so clear. It's like a film. Do you get a lot of people doing that?
All the time. I get people, I look and dress and wear the same things on camera.
There you go. There's your timer. You can finish that though. What were you
I
saying?
look and wear the same stuff on camera in my videos as I do in any networking meeting.
I always wear a black top. Always
Okay.
wear a black top. Yeah, I think it's consistency, and I think with brand. And do you know what? I think just what we said there just at the end was about, you know, it is so important, production value, and people don't realize it. But then when you go into a networking group and someone goes, "Wow, look, I like your camera," especially as a filmmaker, it's like, well, that is my domain. I have to have this set up. So. But anyway, that's it. That's the end of the 10 minutes. How do you find it?
I loved it. It's such a great. I absolutely loved it. It's an amazing thing. How I'm a big fan of short shows.
Yeah, it used to be 20 minutes, but then obviously I just realized, well, I'm not Gary Vee, so let's go with 10 and try and keep people's attention spans a bit
joke
shorter.
of the podcast being cut is that exact reason. The data shows for me that they drop off after about 17 minutes, so I keep it anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. So when you said at the beginning, I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah. So like I say, you are more than welcome to come back in the future, and I will be actively asking you to come back in the future. But that is it. Did you enjoy it?
I thought it was brilliant. I'm going to get you on my show, but I would come back as much as you want, Michael.
Good. So, hey, I like this. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on. If anybody would like to watch any previous episodes, you can head over to youtube.com/Take the Cake Pro. If you would like to see when I post all my latest videos, don't forget to click the bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.